your pen and a paper or your device, perhaps your tab, your phone, your PC, your computer, whatever it is that you use to write. Take some minutes now and tell me your name, your age, and what you think this workshop is all about. I want you to just take some time to write. So in this workshop, we are going to be doing a lot of writing. So get ready to write. If you don't like to write, you can tell me in that little piece that you are writing. Just tell me about yourself, your name, your age, and what you think this workshop is all about. So let me give you some time to get that done, and then we just move ahead. So start writing. I expect that you're writing by now. You're writing, write. Writing is good for you. Writing is good for your brain. Writing is good for your personal development. Tell me your age, your name, and what you think this workshop is all about. That's right. I guess you must be through with that by now. So let's get ahead. What are we doing today? We are going to be talking about reading, words, how writing is a superpower, and we're going to see the connection between reading and writing. And then we are going to draw our conclusions. So when I say we're going to be talking about reading, I'm sure you're like, wow, I thought mommy said this is a writing workshop. Just give me some moments and you'll see how it all ties together. So let's talk about reading. I like to describe reading as a journey. Reading is like visiting different worlds and meeting new friends. When you read, it's like you're visiting different worlds. You're on a journey to another environment, a different place. For example, if you're reading a book about a boy named Ali that lives in Kaduna, what you're doing actually is that you're taking a mental trip to Kaduna and you're meeting Ali, a boy in Kaduna. If you're from Lagos State or from Port Harcourt or wherever you are, perhaps you have never been to Kaduna. But when you get a book, when you pick up a book and you begin to read about a story of a boy that lives in Kaduna, then you're visiting Kaduna, you're taking a mental trip to Kaduna, and you're meeting a new friend. You're meeting Ali, you're meeting Sandra, you're meeting whoever it is that is the character in that book. Or if it is not a storybook, perhaps it's perhaps a textbook from one of your subjects in school. You would be in a new world, an entire different world that is different from what you're used to in your immediate environment. Like, for example, if you're reading something that has to do with mathematics, social studies, or science, you would be visiting a different world entirely, but you'll be doing a lot of work with your imagination. So I have two questions for you. Do you read? And what do you enjoy about reading? I want you to just take some moments to think about it. Do you read? I'm sure you read because you go to school. Perhaps you do not like reading, or perhaps you love to read books. Perhaps you've read a lot of novels. I want you to take some time to think about the last book you read. What was the last thing you read that you enjoyed? Can you think about what you actually enjoyed about that book? Can you write it down? Because like I said, we're going to be doing a lot of writing. So I want you to pick your book again or your device, and I want you to write about yourself. Do you like to read? And what do you enjoy about reading? I want to hear from you. You are free to write with You're free to write whichever way you love to write. I just want to see you put your imagination to work. I want to see you use your mind. So just 2 questions for you to answer, and you can frame that answer. You can frame the answers to those 2 questions however you want. I want you to be creative in the way you answer those questions. Just 2 questions. Do you read? What do you enjoy about reading? So go ahead and write. I'm going to give you some minutes to do that. Right. Just go ahead and write. I want you to answer those 2 questions as creatively as possible. Do you read? What do you enjoy about reading? Just think about the last thing you read, the last book you read, the last material you read. What do you enjoy about it? Go ahead and just answer those questions. So I'm just going to give you some minutes to do that. Write about yourself. Do you read? And what do you enjoy about reading? Okay, I believe you've done some writing now, and we'll just continue. Now tell me, I want you to know that there are different types of books. When you are reading, there are fiction books, there are non-fiction materials, and there are books of poetry. There are fiction books, there are non-fiction books, and there are books of poetry. Poetry is just like poems. Have you heard of poems? When we talk about fiction, we refer to books that have been written on events that are purely from imagination. Fiction means writing a story that did not really happen. A story that you only imagined. It did not happen. You did not see it anywhere. You did not hear of it. You just thought of it and then you wrote it. That is fiction. Whereas non-fiction could be anything ranging from writing about an idea, writing an article, discussing your thoughts about something, or writing a story about something that truly happened. That would be non-fiction. Then we have poetry. Poetry has to do with poems, and they are written in stanzas. We are still going to be considering this as we proceed, but let's just go ahead and now talk about the power of words. We have talked about reading, but you know, when you are reading, what do you read? You read words. Words that have been written down by a writer. That is what you interact with. That is what you interact with when you read. When you pick up a book or an article or a piece of writing, what you are doing is you are interacting with words that have been written by a writer or an author. And you know, words are powerful. Words are powerful. Words can influence people's emotions. What do I mean by words can influence our emotions? I mean, words can make us laugh. Words can make us cry. Words can make us think about something. Words can make us imagine. For example, if I write down a funny story and you read it, you're going to laugh. My words have made you laugh. Or if I write a sad story, if I tell you about a sad event, you might cry because my words have influenced your emotions and they have made you cry. If I write about For example, if you're living in Oyo State or you're living in Abia State and you have never been to Abuja, and I write about Abuja, perhaps I write an article about Zuma Rock in Abuja. What would happen is, as you are reading that piece, you're going to be imagining that you are in Abuja, that you are standing before Zuma Rock. You're going to be engaging your mental power. And that's the power of words. That's the power of a writer. As a writer, you use your words to influence people, to influence their emotions. You can use your words to make people laugh. You can use your words to make people cry. You can use your words to make people think. You can use your words to make people imagine. You can use your words to make people change their minds. You can use your word to plant an idea in people's minds. You can use your word to change how people think about something, to change people's belief. Those are the power of words. The greatest power of a writer is that a writer is able to use their words to change narratives, to shape narratives, to change the way people think, to shape people's mind. So as you grow up, you need to learn that your words are powerful. As you develop your writing skills, as you begin to write, understand that when people read your words, they are not only just reading, they are being influenced by the things that you write. So as a writer, when you have developed your writing skill, you are powerful. Writers are powerful people because they can influence people's words and emotions. Okay, so let's go ahead. We have talked about reading. We have talked about the power of words. Now, I also told you that writing is a superpower because words are powerful. Writing is a superpower. Writing gives you the ability to create your own stories. It gives you the ability to shape narratives. Like I've explained earlier, writing helps you to change people's minds. You can use writing to change people's mind. For example, if I write about how a boy ate apple and he never fell sick. If you read that story about a boy who ate apple every day and never fell sick, what would happen to you is that you begin to see that eating apple is a good thing. Because you do not want to fall sick, you do not want to go to the hospital, and you do not want to have to be swallowing medicine or taking injections, you would want to start eating apples so that you will never fall sick. What have I done? I have used my writing to change the way you think. So writing is a superpower. It gives you the ability to create your own stories, to shape narratives, and to change people's minds. And when you are able to change people's minds, you change their lives. So writers are superheroes. Writing is a superpower. Now, there are different forms of writing. You can write stories, you can write poems, letters, essays, and so on and so forth. We are going to be considering some of these forms of writing in our class, in this workshop. But for now, let's go ahead. So we have talked about reading. We have talked about the power of words, and we have discussed how writing is a superpower. Now let's connect the dots. How does reading and writing relate? But before that, I want you to share your favorite writing experience. Like I said, writing is a superpower and words are powerful. Have you been writing before? Have you written any story? Have you written any piece? I want you to share your favorite writing experience. The last time you wrote something, how did it make you feel? The last time somebody read something that you wrote, How did it make them feel? I want you to take your pen and paper right now and write and tell me about your favorite writing experience. Now, if you have never written before, you may have nothing to tell me now. But that will not be true. If you think you've not written before, you write notes in school. Don't you write notes when you go to school? I'm sure you write notes. That writing in school gives you some writing experiences. So go ahead and just share with me, what is your favorite writing experience? The one you love to remember, or the one you can remember. Take some minutes now, pick your pen and paper and share with me, what is your favorite writing experience? I'm waiting for you. I'm going to give you some minutes. So go ahead and just write. Share your favorite writing experience. You can pause this lesson here and take some time to write. Share your favorite writing experience with me. Go ahead and write. Take your book, take your pen, take your paper, take your device, your tablet, your phone, or your PC, and share your favorite writing experience with me. So you can pause this lesson and take some time to write. I'm waiting for you. Write, share your favorite writing experience. Okay, I'm assuming you've written your favorite writing experience. Let's move ahead and let's tie it all together. Did you know that reading and writing are friends? I'm sure you did not know this. Did you know reading and writing, they are friends? If you want to be a good writer, you must love to read. And that's why we considered reading before we started talking about writing. Because if you do not read, you will not be a good writer. So everyone who wants to be a good writer must develop the habit of reading. Reading and writing are friends. Because when you read, you are able to build your vocabulary. Reading helps in vocabulary development. Now, what do I mean by vocabulary development? When you read, you see new words, you learn new words that you are able to use when you are writing. For example, if you want to write about Apple, or you want to write about computers, if you do not know what a computer is called, you do not know what a mouse is called, you do not know what a PC is called, you do not know, you understand, if you do not know those words, how will you use them in your writing? But when you have read other books, you are able to, you see new words, you learn new words, you learn their meaning, their spelling. What you are doing is you're developing your vocabulary and you are able to use those words in your next writing. So reading and writing are friends because reading helps you to be a better writer through vocabulary development. Also, the more you read, the better your writing becomes. Why? Because when you read, you are able to learn about new sentence structures. You are able to see how good writers are writing. And when you read from good and great writers, it helps you to imbibe good writing habits. It's a subconscious thing. It's something that happens without you knowing that it is happening. When you read, for example, think of a bowl of water. If I put a bowl of water on the floor and I take a piece of foam or a piece of cloth, perhaps a face towel, an handkerchief, and I put it inside the water, by the time I take it out of the water, what would happen to it? It will become wet. The more time the foam or the clothing material or the handkerchief spent inside the bowl of water, the more soaked, the more wet it becomes. That's exactly what happens to your brain when you read. The more time you spend reading, the more your brain develops, the more your brain learns new things. So your brain is like that piece of cloth that is soaked inside water when you are reading. Water is like the writing of good writers that you get in a book or in articles when you read. So by the time you immerse yourself, when you put yourself, when you use your brain, when you engage your brain, you engage your mind in reading, as you are reading from good and great writers, your brain is soaking it up. Your brain is soaking it up. Your brain is soaking it up, just like the water, just like the handkerchief will be soaking up water. So your brain will be soaking up writing skills, writing talent, good grammar, punctuation, good spelling, vocabulary, and you'll be becoming better. And so it happens that the more you read, the better you will write. Now, I want you to take some moment to think. Do you like to read? If you do not like to read, you must start reading from today. As a matter of fact, in this workshop, you're going to be spending a lot of time reading because I'm going to be asking you to read some materials. Because the more you read, the better you will write. And that is how we have come to the end of this introductory class. Thank you for listening. Now you can ask your questions. But because this is not a live class, you are going to send your questions into our Learning Hub. And when we have our review, we are going to answer those questions. Now, it is time to write. You know, I've given you some writing assignments before. Like I said, you're going to be doing a lot of writing in this workshop. Now it is time to write. And what are you going to be writing? You have 2 exercises. Exercise number 1, if you could have a superpower, which would you love to have? Why would you love to have that particular superpower? And what would you do with it? Exercise number 2, I want you to write about anything you'd love to write. Just write about anything at all that you'd love to write about. So these are your exercises. I expect that you do them and you send them to our Learning Hub. Your first exercise, if you could have a superpower, which would you love to have and why? What would you do with it? Your exercise 2, write about anything that you'd love to write. I expect to see your responses. Bye.